Let's bring in our panel of strategists to break down this morning's top political stories. Republican strategist Alex Zdan and Democratic strategist and former senior advisor to Kamala Harris, Mike Nellis. Gentlemen, welcome back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with the Supreme Court decision allowing DOGE access to our Social Security numbers, our personal data. Mike, I'll start with you. Democrats have been concerned about this for quite some time, citing it could violate Americans' privacy. You know, I have to start with your thoughts.
Yeah, I think it absolutely violates Americans' privacy. I mean, look, if DOGE was a serious effort to cut government spending, they would have hired a bunch of highly qualified forensic accountants who could come in there and really cut the waste. But that isn't what it is. Elon Musk has hired a bunch of unqualified kids to do it, one of whom had to resign for saying incredibly racist things just a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. These are not a group of serious people. So like right now, a group of 20-something-year-olds who are deeply committed to the MAGA movement, who are deeply committed to the tech right, have access to your Social Security information, have access to your medical records, might have access to your banking information. That is not a good idea. And it sounds like what they're trying to do is they're trying to build a database of Americans. I don't know what they're going to use it for. Is it tracking you? Is it trying to look for something that they can use against people? I don't understand it. And I think the Supreme Court's making a terrible partisan mistake. And it's a good example that much of the Supreme Court was appointed by Donald Trump, continues to give him what he wants. And right now they have access to our sensitive information, which is a terrible idea.
Alex, we saw several reports just this week that some of the agencies that experienced those drastic staff reductions are now looking to rehire or reinstate their employees. Your thoughts on the effectiveness of DOGE since January and what you hope from the agency, at least in the coming months?
DOGE has lit the way to cut waste, fraud, and abuse from the federal government. And I think what the president, the administration, and Congress is doing now is the right move. They are trying to make these DOGE cuts permanent in Congress. And that's the way it should be. DOGE identifies these cuts, digs up these programs that are wasteful, fraudulent, and that are not using the Americans' taxpayer dollar correctly. And Congress steps in and permanently ends these programs. This is the way it should be. It's exactly what DOGE is doing. And I'll remind you that this move by the Supreme Court only strikes down the injunction. This full case can go forward.
Now, let's go back to that public breakup between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Like we mentioned, it's quieted down, at least for now. On board Air Force One Friday night, Trump says he's moved on from this feud. Here's what he said.
Honestly, I've been so busy working on China, working on Russia, working on Iran, working on so many that I'm not thinking about Elon. You know, I just wish him well.
I think this is actually very mature. Alex, you're a strategist. What do you think of how Trump is handling this scenario thus far?
Well, I don't want to rain on Mike's parade. I guess he's popping popcorn, but I'll tell you the one thing that can bring Donald Trump and Elon Musk together is the schadenfreude of the left at the glee of this Godzilla versus King Kong matchup that's never going to happen. That will bring them more closely together than ever before. Look, the media has fixated on this like it's an episode of Real Housewives of the Potomac. Sure, I'm not the first person to make that joke, but the point is the big, beautiful bill that's sitting in Congress right now is one of the most transformative pieces of legislation that we'll see this year, maybe this decade. Victories like no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, restoring most of the SALT deductions, a tax cut for the American people. Yet the media is focused on a personal sparring match between these two men. I know it's fun. I know it's interesting, but let's keep our eye on the prize. The big, beautiful bill is in Congress, and it's a major win for the American people if and when that tax cut goes through in July.
I think it's very interesting. Democrat Ro Khanna said just this week that Democrats should be in dialogue with Musk now. Mike, your reaction to what the Democrat is saying?
Yeah, well, I disagree with Ro Khanna. We should not be bringing Elon Musk into the tent. But I got to say, I don't envy you, Alex, for having to go out and defend the conduct of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They've been acting like Real Housewives of Washington, D.C. It's not that the media is covering it, is that they're not acting like serious people. And what this entire ordeal has shed a spotlight on is that everything that happens in Washington under Donald Trump is really about the egos and the pocketbooks of corrupt billionaires like Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Musk is mad because he's not getting the tax credits that he wants in the bill. Donald Trump is mad because he's frustrated with Elon Musk's conduct and he's not getting the loyalty that he wants. This is not a good bill. It is going to explode the deficit by trillions of dollars. It's going to kick 16 million Americans off of their health care. And you talk about a tax cut for the American people, 99% of the tax cuts are for the top 1% of 1%. It's going to explode the deficit, and it's the same thing Republicans do every single time they get elected. They promise to provide relief to regular Americans. They promise to do something that's going to help you put food on the table, retire with dignity. And then all they do is cut taxes for the rich. And so to go out there and defend this bill, it's a terrible bill. Elon Musk is right that it's a bad bill. Now, his intentions are bad because all he cares about is what he's going to get out of it. But these two are not doing anything to help regular people. And that was a problem before Donald Trump took office. The difference right now is the veil is completely gone.
Let's talk about another huge issue. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, he is back in the United States this morning. He was in court on Friday. I should mention it wasn't immigration court, it was federal court. He's now charged with human trafficking. Mike, his immigration lawyer has said that he deserves due process even if he is a bad guy. My question to you is this a win for the folks that had been fighting for this man to return to the United States?
I mean, it's a win for everybody who cares about the rule of law. It's a win for anybody who cares about due process. Look, I've been critical of the Trump administration on this. They've been moving really quickly, and I'm generally broadly in support of like let's tighten up our border security. Let's remove anybody who's violent, but anybody who's here has a right to face a judge. And what the Trump administration's been doing is they're bypassing people's due process. They've lied openly many times about Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and then they ripped him away from his family, and then the Supreme Court told him to come back, and it took him 2 months to be able to comply with that order. They've been in open defiance of the Supreme Court on this, which is an incredibly frustrating and dangerous thing. All I want is for Kilmar Abrego Garcia to have his day in court, to have proper legal representation. If a judge says he's a dangerous person, he's a bad dude, get him out of the country, make sure that that's handled. Same thing with everybody else who's here illegally. Make sure that they have an opportunity to face a judge, and that's fine. That's the way that it should work. It's about what the American people stands for. It's about the Constitution. It's about getting this right and making sure that we're removing people who are violent, but not doing so at the violation of our individual civil liberties.
Alex, you and I have talked about this a lot. The Trump administration has said he was not coming back to the U.S. There's no way he's coming back to the United States. He's back on U.S. ground now. Have your thoughts shifted since the stance that you took a few weeks ago on this?
Well, first of all, remind me never to hire Kilmar's lawyer if I ever get in trouble, because that guy just threw his client under the bus on your network. Look, this is like when you tell a kid, don't touch the hot stove. No, really, don't touch the hot stove. Please don't touch the hot stove. And the kid grabbed the hot stove with both hands. The kid's the Democrats. Democrats, you wanted him back, you got him. He's going into court to answer for these heinous charges. This is a victory for the rule of law. This is a victory for justice. And Kilmar Abrego Garcia will be rotting in prison where he belongs after a jury finds him guilty.
Alex Zdan, Mike Nellis. Guys, I really love having both of you on. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anna.